Zoom over there.
You got that one, I just did that. Yes.
Okay, so overall all the buildings are structurally sound. There's no glaring structural issues. Most of them are updating the buildings, bringing it to ADA compliance, electrical upgrades, same with HVAC. Probably the biggest item is the library's concrete ramp should be addressed. Let's see, what else? All the plumbing is working. Same with the HVAC system. Some of them need to be upgraded or installed, such as the library.
Our biggest area you feel is the library that we need to look at?
The ramp going into the library
Yes.
is the biggest concern of everything. The handrails are shot. They've been cut off at the post because they rusted out, but they weren't reattached, so we have long spans, so it doesn't meet the OSHA requirements for handrails. The underside of the concrete is falling away and the rebar has started to rust out. It's not gonna collapse tomorrow, but it's something that we definitely need to address sooner than later. Go ahead.
Okay, would you like me to go through the buildings?
Sure, yeah, I mean, you can just give us I've looked at it, I haven't read the page, but I have looked at it, and just kind of give us a kind of an update of what you think the condition is.
Okay, so, starting with the town office, electrical is, it's a kind of a hodgepodge mixed together. It'd be hard to add anything on in the future, such as bigger AC systems or any major upgrades you want to have in the future. So mapping out the electrical system is probably the high priority if you wanted to add something in the future. ADA is a concern also because you have the bathroom in the basement and it's not accessible.
Probably the one in the fire department's not accessible either.
No.
No. And the fire department is small for what it's being used for.
Thank goodness Donnie isn't here.
That's why we're saying it tonight.
Appreciate that, thanks.
Okay.
Structurally, the exterior walls on that are adequate. We do need to look at the overhead doors. The lintels over them are starting to rot out, so that's not something that needs to be immediately addressed, but it's not something we want to keep waiting. Within the next 5 years, it should be addressed.
Same with the back egress staircase, the wooden one, that's starting to lean and getting kind of moldy.
The roof is fine.
For now, the roof is adequate.
Okay.
It's older than 98, so it is getting long in the tooth, but the seams are all in relatively good shape. If we could get somebody to do touch-up on them, it would extend the life of the roof. Unfortunately, most of the people that do the repairs are gonna tell you that you need to replace it.
Absolutely.
It's a flat roof.
It is a flat EPDM roof, rubber.
Does he
It's a rubber membrane that's spread over the whole roof.
Is there a rock on it, or is it just rubber?
Just rubber. It's glued down.
Yeah, on the back portion by the fire station, there is overlapping of the EPDM. It is done backwards, so water can infiltrate. It doesn't look like there's any issues now, but that is something to be noted.
So that was done in 98, you said?
Before 98.
Before 98, yeah.
In 1998, it was required to start printing what factories were being used,
Okay.
and there's no ink left on it. Go on to the next one.
Okay, for Old Point School, again, it's all structurally sound. The finishes, plumbing, and the electrical system is outdated. There is problems with mold, which is shown in the ESP report in the back of the pamphlet. There is ADA issues with the older section of the school, the staircases, getting into the building. I know you guys address it with the ramps on the side, but the other side needs some adjusting. And this the electrical system is also outdated.
That one's better than the town office though.
I
Yes,
just think this building's better than the town office.
Yes.
Electrically.
Wow,
yes.
that's probably not good.
Could be a problem.
That could be a problem. Worse.
ADA on the old section of the school is something of a concern because you guys are using the historical society upstairs. So we need to make sure that there's some plan to address somebody that wants to go upstairs to look at materials that can't make the stairs.
Would a chairlift satisfy that?
Unfortunately, the state does not allow us to install chairlifts in buildings anymore.
No.
They would require us to put in an elevator.
Okay.
The front of the school will need repointing of the brick. Also, we did get aerial views of the roof. It seemed to be in alright condition, but probably will need to be upgraded in the future. The metal roof is on 10 years. Yes, and then the metal roof is in good condition. You might need to reseal around some of the openings. What?
Library.
Library. As mentioned previously for the library, the ramp's the biggest concern. There was mold and asbestos found in the building. In the children's room, the tile was asbestos, and there's mold along the closet wall. And then it's recommended to put a dehumidification system for the library to help with some of the moisture issues.
Will the electrical system at the library handle that? Or is the electrical system outdated as well?
That electrical system has been is more current than the other ones. It is also doesn't have as much draw, so I'm not as concerned about electrical unless they put a three-phase system in, then we'll have to upgrade, but.
For the East Madison Fire Station, it's one of the newer of all the buildings, so it's in good condition. Some of the finishes will need to be upgraded.
The fire department took out the front door, so that needs to be repaired at some point.
What? They took out the front door?
The overhead doors are fine, but the center petition between the overhead doors has been damaged sometime in the past.
Okay.
In East Madison?
Yes,
Is that outside or is that street?
outside,
Okay.
not inside. And the sign probably needs to be updated because it's about to fall off the boat.
Ooh, okay.
There is a extractor system for their gear. It is cut into what should be a firewall, so that build out will need to be properly fire rated. And the door will need to be fire rated also. For the highway garage, it's been well maintained. We don't recommend any major conditions, just keep up with the process of your maintenance. The exterior finishes will need to be repaired around the garage bay doors, but as we talked to the manager there, they already have a program in place to replace once a year, I believe. So if we keep that up, it should be all right.
Jeff, are you familiar with Taylor and Keith?
I am not, but it sounds like it's the same old thing with the bottom of the doors where the salt runs out of the trucks and out the door, obviously. If we replace those bottom panels every 10 years, and we do a door a year or so. And the metal framing around where the brick sets into also gets painted sandblasted and painted every few years.
Jeff Wright is the
Director.
new road commissioner. What? New old,
New old.
returning, he's the current road commissioner.
I believe I summarized all of the buildings. Is there any particular questions about individual ones?
Any questions from anybody? I would say that we probably need to put together a building committee. And maybe at our next meeting, we can talk about who'd like to be on that and kind of figure out where we're gonna go, because it doesn't sound like any of this is gonna be cheap.
Unfortunately, that's the reason we didn't put a list of, this needs, other than the ramp, which is gonna get written up.
Mhm.
We need some direction from you on what would you wanna tackle first.
It sounds like that ramp is the worst thing that you've
Yes,
summarized.
it is. But everything needs maintenance.
Yes, but that seems to be the top of the,
That's the top of the
Worst.
pile.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the most structurally concerning out of
Yeah.
everything we've seen.
So I know Julie's done some work in the library, remediating that mold that was there. I think she's done
Yeah.
that. So basically, the ramp, I don't think she has a plan for that at this point.
We
So
don't.
what we probably should do is start to get a plan together for doing maintenance. I mean, so we have to update electrical, we have to update plumbing, and, you know, those are all, I mean, electrical is a big issue.
So that ramp, there's no way to fix the current ramp, you need a whole new ramp.
Unfortunately, the rebar is compromised and it's starting to pop off. There's a couple of pictures towards the back of the report. So I can't say with a straight face that the rebar isn't compromised further than what we can see. We can patch the ramp and then put new handrails in, but I won't guarantee that it won't continue to get worse. Yes?
Does the ramp need to, if it comes down, do we need to replace it with concrete, or can it be some sort of other material like wood or?
I would like to say that we could do wood, but that's a historic building, so I'd have to talk to the historic committee before.
It may not be a.
Usually they like us to keep materials the same.
Jeff?
We had looked at that years ago, and it's gonna be costly to replace it because it's concrete, and the pitch, the height of the door and the pitch was the issue. And we discussed about coming straight out the door and straight down toward the road, but then it would have been in the DOT right-of-way. So that's why that ramp was built like it was, to get the pitch and get it out of the right-of-way. It was also discussed to put it out the back toward the SRS building, but where the town doesn't own that parking lot, it would be difficult to park over there, ask the SRS school to park over there and put the ramp going just the opposite of what it is now, with a handicap access plus a paved walkway. And I believe there was a fuel tank in the way at the time, but I think that's changed.
I don't remember a fuel tank.
Yeah, that's probably, I
Is it
think
better?
that's gone.
Yeah, the library's using natural gas right
Yeah.
now.
Alright, so I guess probably we should come up, I mean, obviously we can't do anything for the next budget season unless we have some money available, but I would say we need to come up with some prices on what it's gonna take to put a new ramp in.
Yep.
You might as well do it right, I mean, there's no sense, as he said, there's no sense patching this thing if we're not gonna be assured that it's going to work. I mean,
Okay.
we've probably gone past that point, I would say that's gotta be our number one priority, and then I think we sit down and put 2 or 3 members together and come up with a building committee and address the building, I mean,
So on a building committee, would you want 1 or 2 people from the select board?
I would say yes, probably, I mean, Jeff seems to have some knowledge, I mean, I don't know if he wants to be on a committee or not, but I would say that's probably gotta be somebody, probably Jeff, the other Jeff.
So Jeff Wright and Jeff
Heidi's
Drew.
giving signals over there.
Heidi? Would you be interested? We certainly could use, so, I mean, I don't think we need 25 people, but
No.
I think 5 or 6 would be sufficient. Anybody on the board wanna tackle that? I do not, so. Sean?
Don't nod your head.
he was nodding his head for something.
Because I knew it was coming.
I'd be willing to do
Good,
it.
all right, Sally would be and Sean would be, so we're in good shape there.
Also to let you know, MMA Risk Management, when they did their assessment in the fall with me, they actually tagged that as an issue with risk management.
So I think we
So-
should have that we should have that information too along with this.
Mhm.
And so we have all of that, so the building committee can get together now. And I think we have to have some sort of 3 to 5 year plan. I mean, we're not gonna do all of this in 1 year. I mean, what would you project as a cost for this ramp to do a complete rebuild? I mean,
28 to 35, and the curb's gonna throw a lot of you guys off, 28,000 to 35,000.
yeah. Okay. I mean, we really can't put it out the back and have it depend on the SRS parking lot. I mean,
I need to answer the question about the concrete
Yeah,
versus
so as
the
far
wood.
as wood.
Yeah.
If we can do it wood, it'll be cheaper.
yeah.
And if we can do it wood, it might behoove us to make some 90-degree turns instead of trying to do a circle.
Right.
Yes.
I got a question, Keith. Does it have to go in the location it's in now? Could we put another doorway in if it's not restricted from the historical side? In a different
There's
location?
not a whole lot of places that are unexposed, but the real problem is I need to keep that door there so that I have my ADA separation for exits. Because the other exit is coming in the front door, and that's the back door.
I get it, yeah.
Is there an elevator at the library right now?
No,
No.
Could the ramp be replaced with an elevator?
yes, but that would be way more expensive.
Yeah.
It would get you access to the basement and the first floor.
You
So
still
that-
that ramp out, that wouldn't you?
No, not
There's
necessarily.
steps up to
We're talking
the
big
exit.
money.
What's that?
There's steps up to the exit out of the library.
Correct.
Ask Scout Hegan how much it costs them to put theirs in.
Yeah.
$293,000.
Yeah, there you go.
That was their elevator?
Yeah.
So I guess we're gonna put it back where it is.
Never mind.
So I guess what we'll do is, let's put
We
this
have
committee.
one more question.
Yes.
I think it's really important, especially with the library and this building, for the ADA problems, to look into other outside funding, such as grant funding. I do believe that in conversation with Julie Forbes in the past, she has put out grants to try to get the ramp covered. Maybe look at seeing if she has,
Yeah.
if not, what is available.
Yep.
ADA compliance, a lot of the state wants to see that in municipalities, so why not try for some funding
Yep.
instead of just waiting?
I think that's what that committee can work on, to see if there's any funding there. But I mean, we do have to buck up some money here, because
Yeah.
we gotta,
Right.
if we don't get that funding, we're gonna have to do it, so we kinda have to go along with, we're not getting the funding. And if we get it, then that will offset some of that, because we can't hope to get the funding, we've got to get it done, and if they come back with some, that would be fine. I also think the building committee needs to look at the electrical, I think that's a big thing. I think another question is, do we sell this building? Do we put this building up for sale? I don't know, it seems though, if we have a ADA, somebody comes in and they can't get to where they wanna go, what's gonna be our next move? If somebody wants to go upstairs in the historical society, and there's no access, we're obviously not gonna look very good to start with, but that's gonna be costly for us. So I think that's something we've got to address also. Mr. Moody?
The condition is, and the age of some of this parts of this building here, how much money do we really want to invest into
That's what I'm
it?
kinda saying, yeah.
You know, it's,
I think good
but in the meantime, if you do, where you gonna put everything that's here?
All right.
That's the handicap part.
That's why we got a building committee.
That you're not on.
What's that? I don't know what I'm on.
Well, I can tell you that the select board's gonna be involved because there's an awful lot of money to discuss.
Yeah, oh, I know, I know that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Chairman Venziano, you can always participate as a general public member.
I could show up, yes.
That's right. That's
Put
right.
his name down.
Yeah.
My concern would be too, is that like the town office is basically dealing with the same issues with electrical. Cause I even know like we couldn't put the heat pumps in that we got the bid for or the grant for, because we didn't have the electrical system to sustain that. So we kinda have to have that committee looking at that as well.
Yes.
Because not just over here, but,
No, I meant the electrical at the town
oh,
office.
of everything,
That's
okay.
what, that's what I was talking about, 'cause I mean, that to me, I mean, we have everything there, we have our computers, that's our day-to-day business, right? If that thing blows up, then we're in a lot of trouble. I mean,
Well,
we're-
that, and what about if we start breaking down walls, we have the asbestos issue, correct?
Yes,
Do it at night, maybe.
I don't.
there's 4 on the
So,
floor.
I think this all is within the building committee, I think you guys start talking about it, and we can
Share the report
share
with,
this all night long, but we're not gonna get anywhere right here, so I think getting that together, so, can you set a date, and then you can send it out to everybody?
yes,
And we'll be happy to come.
thank you. We appreciate your support, believe me.
Yes.
You can put me down on that, Denise, if you want.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, anything else, any other,
Nope,
other
I
than
mean-
good luck to us?
Yeah, well,
We thank you very much, this is very well done, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of good stuff in
We'll
here.
be happy to help any way we can, but we do need to sit down and figure out what priorities would be before I can start telling you, this is how I would approach that.
That
The
first
size
meeting.
of the town office is to the point where it's maxed out.
Yep.
So I can't expand it until we address the electrical issue, and the fire department
Same boat.
is gonna be the same boat. The public garage, that's something that you guys are gonna have to think about long-term. It's in good condition, and hopefully it stays that way, but it's still gonna take maintenance.
Yeah.
The library, we can't do anything with it, it's a historic building, but we'll work our way through that.
We have no new buildings in this town. No new public buildings.
There's not at all a lot of new public buildings in the state of Maine.
I know it.
I mean, with the fire department, I joke, don't let Donnie hear this, but
Let me get the mute button.
if you come, if one day, if the fire truck is out of line, coming out of that garage door, it's probably over.
We got a bigger garage
We
door.
got a big problem there. So, it's gonna take those front pillars right out. It's been, I've been at meetings there that they had to come have everybody move their car back so they could bring the fire truck right straight out. So they couldn't go at an angle because they were gonna take those things out. So, we joke about it, but it really isn't.
Unfortunately, the fire trucks are just getting bigger.
Bigger hose. Bigger is right.
Well, they built in 1955.
Yeah.
The floor is also cracked in the fire bay too, so
Yeah.
that should be noted. It's fine as is right now, but it will need to be addressed in the future.
Boy.
So do you include in this report the various remediations that you recommend?
We made some recommendations of things to address in the report, but we didn't get fully in depth, because that goes back to how much money you want to invest in buildings and
Prioritize
which direction.
Yes, but we do know all recommendations, and we just kind of summarize the limitations of each building
Okay.
and what hinders future operations. But it really depends on what you see your town growing and needing.
Unfortunately, I need input before I can go with it.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. All right, so we'll move back to old business number 1. The past meeting with the Madison Sanitary District is scheduled for December 9th, 2024. It will be here, and that was originally, we sent out an email talking about the 25th, I believe, of November, but they cannot make it that night, so they've made arrangements to be here on the 9th. And they will explain everything that you need to know about what's going in at the sanitary district.
Mary Tomlinson has expressed that the planning board wants to be included in that meeting.
Well, they can come and watch.
Yep.
And they can come and watch, yeah,
Yep.
tell her that it's not gonna be
Yep.
a joint meeting, but they certainly can come and ask questions.
Okay,
Um, I have attended one, I know Sally's attended one, and they don't plan, I thought they should have a public hearing, but we'll talk about that on that night in Madison. Because there's a lot of stuff there that's, to me, questionable. But-
Mhm.
All right, number two, fiscal year '23 audit report. Do we have a need for the auditors to come to answer some questions? Is that anything that anybody is interested in? We have their reports. I've read through the summaries of those, and it looks like we're in pretty good shape for those. Anybody, everybody okay? Okay. All right.
so
number
no
three's gone.
need,
No need, no. Communication Living Well report is in your packet. Everybody, no report from the ACO because we don't have one. The road commissioner's here, other than that, everybody's sent something. I didn't see the sheriff report, was that in there?
I just handed it out.
Okay, all right, that's pretty good then.
That was one of the
Oh, I got
reports that
HR.
we just got. It's behind the finance
Yeah, I got it.
and recreation.
All right. Road commissioner is here, anything from the road commissioner, other than he's doing a good job and we're getting no snow this year.
No snow till next June.
Okay.
All good.
Okay. Town manager report on expenses and revenues, 38% currently, we're at 38.5, it looks like we're even.
We're right where we're supposed to be.
Okay.
I do have some other communications I want to just run through real quickly if I
Yep.
can. The Anson Madison Water District sent out a notice that there's lead that's been found in the drinking water. So, it doesn't say how much and it doesn't say how bad, but it says some of the things that you can do about remediation, testing your water, and just making sure that for drinking and for cooking, that you run the water and let it run cold for about 5 minutes before you use it,
Wow.
because that kind of,
That'll run your meter up.
But
Yeah.
but I think what it said was that it's the piping that comes into everyone's house. that-
right,
From the
lead
road,
pipes.
yeah, that's where the lead is.
It's in the road.
Yep,
Yeah,
so let me see if I
Pipes
can
are-
find that.
yeah. So is that something they're trying to remediate or?
yes, and they're
Not
saying,
5 minutes, I'm sorry, 15 seconds.
Okay.
Run the water for at least 15 seconds until it becomes noticeably colder. The longer the water sits in the piping, the more lead it contains, so use cold water for drinking and cooking, as well as preparing baby formula. Hot water dissolves lead more quickly than cold water. Boiling the water does not reduce lead levels. So, do you want me to post that on the town website?
Is that something they're getting out? I mean, are they,
We got this in the mail from the water district.
yep, and they sent
Sending
it
it to
to the
everybody?
school, they sent it to the fire department, they sent it to the highway.
what about the
Well, how
residents?
about residents, did
Do
they?
I
you
don't
guys
know.
on town water?
It
Well, if
says
you didn't get one, then
current occupants, so I
Oh,
think
yeah,
that it's
some-
going, I think it's going to everybody.
Okay, yeah, I guess I would post that, why not?
Okay. 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 Then we got a letter from Maine General Health that they wanted to notify us that the next step syringe exchange program that they have in Waterville is gonna be continued. I reached out to them and said, well, you're not gonna be doing this in Madison because we have a ban on needle exchange, and they said, no, we had to, by law, notify anybody within a certain radius of the site that's doing it. So the town of Madison falls within that radius. They have no plans to come and try to do any needle exchange program in Madison. I had a lovely conversation with Randy Bliss on how to improve communications with the citizens. Some of the things that he suggested were adding meeting reminders as part of the select board agenda, contacting area groups and churches to get notices out to their membership that things are happening. This is all as a result of the October 22nd meeting that people knew about but didn't show up for. And then PSAs on Channel 11. Then, let me just double check. Yeah, so, do you want, is now the time to talk about the police?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
mention.
So we had a conversation, Chairman Venziano and Ms. Estes also was in attendance for a meeting with Chief Bucknam and Town Manager Don DeBlasi from Skowhegan. And we had a conversation about what could they do for us that the sheriff's office is not currently doing. And the bottom line to that conversation was, it reinforced the idea that we should be going out to an RFP, which we will be doing in December, January, so that we can have the results back in time for our budget in March. They basically would provide 4 officers and 2 vehicles dedicated. It would be on a rotation like it is with the sheriff's office, but they would have a total rebranding of their department, so it wouldn't be just Skowhegan officers operating in Madison, it would be Skowhegan Madison or Madison Skowhegan Police
Yeah, if we
Department.
decide to go that way.
Yeah, if we choose to go that way.
Yes, Mr.
Did you talk about the liability factor that
Yes,
they're going
They
to
are.
assume?
and
They are working on the liability factor with their insurance company.
Chief Bucknam was checking in on that.
Yep.
So we don't have an answer to it yet, but that was definitely one of the concerns that we brought to them.
Right.
And other than that, they would have the investigative resources and the mutual aid resources and everything else.
How about all the paperwork that goes into the federal people and state people? Are they gonna charge us to do that?
That would be part of the contract.
It
when-
would be.
Yeah,
Okay,
similar to what it is now with the sheriff's office, so.
okay.
We don't have the details, so
No.
we need to write this RFP before we can.
Right.
talk
This,
about
this was
these.
just all based on conversation, you know, can it be done? If it can be done, what would be offered, things like that. Do you have a question?
I know it was brought up earlier on, the school resource officer, was that part
That's
of the
nothing-
conversation? That's
Nothing to do
separate.
with it, yeah, it's totally separate. And
Yeah.
Tim Curtis did say that when he was here, that had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, and,
Yes, Mr. Moody?
If you have another meeting, I do have a little bit of experience in that area. I would like to be part of that meeting,
okay,
yeah, a little bit.
Okay, number 4. Let us
I'm not done. You're rushing me. Madison Recreation Department came up with a mission statement, and it was approved by the Rec Committee on November 6th at their meeting. The Madison Recreation Department is committed to enhancing the quality of life for all residents by providing a variety of recreational programs, events, and facilities that promote health, community engagement, and personal growth. We strive to create inclusive, safe, and fun environments where individuals of all ages and abilities can participate in physical activity, connect with others, and enjoy the beauty of our town. Through collaboration with local partners and a dedication to continuous improvement, we aim to foster a vibrant and active community that values wellness, teamwork, and the joy of recreation. And I have one more note. Matt Tarasevich, the attorney, I reached out to him about the paid family medical leave, and he said the DOL issued this advice today. Collective bargaining agreements, public employees and employees that are subject to a collective bargaining agreement that was in effect on October 25th, 23, which our highway contract was, are not eligible to participate until the collective bargaining agreement expires. So it doesn't give us an option to reopen it. We can't do anything until it expires. Neither party will make contributions pertaining to the paid family and medical leave program until the collective bargaining agreement expires, and individuals will not be eligible for benefits until either the expiration of the collective bargaining agreement or May 2026, whichever comes later. and the bargaining agreement doesn't expire until June 30 of 2026.
Okay,
And,
so the people in the highway department or the union
mhm.
do not have to pay when this starts up in January.
And you don't have to
And
pay.
they don't have, we
And
don't
we don't have to pay
that
for them
this year.
either.
Okay.
Yep.
Alright.
And they're not eligible for benefits either until we get into the next bargaining,
Okay,
the next contract.
okay, yes.
So what about the two that are not eligible for the union for a few more months?
Those are the ones that are, because they're subject to becoming union members, they are actually included in, as a union member. So we will not be collecting from them, they will not be part of the program.
Okay.
They're gonna be included with the rest of the highway department.
Okay.
Thank you, I forgot about that.
Cause they're probably paying dues now, right?
No, they're not, because they're not 6 months probation.
One's February, one's March.
Okay,
Okay.
Can I,
Alright.
oh,
Yes.
on my report, the one thing I think that you all should be aware of is the first area, which is a 9% increase to the town for the health insurance starting January 1st, I believe.
which was definitely not budgeted for.
Was there any product percentage that was budgeted for? Or
I-
Not that, I don't think so.
I wasn't here, so I don't know.
I don't think we budgeted for an increase in the insurance.
Is that
I will
because-
review that.
We did not.
Mr. Ian?
Is that because of experience rating, the inflection of that?
It's to do with the higher cost of healthcare, pharmacy across the board. They haven't had a rate increase, they said, in at least 5 years.
Yeah.
So they kind of just did it all in 1 year. I did do a breakdown of who we have
Yes.
and what it would cost the town extra.
All right. Letters to the sheriff and election volunteers. Have those gone or?
Nope, they're not gone, they're waiting for your signature. Basically, dear
Thank you.
volunteer, and this is all from Cheyenne, by the way. We hope that this letter finds you well. On behalf of the town of Madison, we wanted to express our gratitude for your service helping with preparation tasks for the general and referendum election this year. Your volunteer efforts made a significant impact. Whether it was filing voter registration cards, preparing envelopes, or additional clerk tasks, your assistance during that very busy time helped prepare for a huge election. Thank you for your service to our community. We're a place for you guys to all sign. And then the next one is, Dear Dale Lancaster and deputies, we hope this letter finds you well. On behalf of the town of Madison, we wanted to express our gratitude for your service in assigning deputies to our polling place for the general and referendum election this year, and gratitude to the deputies who were very respectful at the polling place. Your presence made a huge impact on the staff working the election by giving them peace of mind. We are appreciative of your collaboration, and we were able to hold a smooth election with over 1,400 voters showing up on election day. Thank you for your service to our community. So, do we need a vote to sign these?
No.
Okay. This,
All right, the next joint meeting will be tomorrow night at SRS Hall from 6 to 8.
yes, and I passed out, I think,
We got it.
I gave, yes, notes.
And we have
I didn't
notes
just
out.
pass out, I mean, I gave out notes.
All right, new business. Rules for disposing of tax-acquired property. We have a new ordinance for that.
Yes, so the new requirements took effect on August 9th of 2024, and I think I had sent this to you, but I can't remember. Chapter 720, ordinance chapter 720. You have it? Okay. This is, it replaces the existing chapter 720 in its entirety, and allows for the change in the process, and dictates specifically what the town needs to do. And I have been in touch with Aaron Bolster from Allied Realty, who said that they would very much like to represent the town in the sale of any tax-acquired property. So the other information that I was hearing from some realtors was they don't want to have anything to do with tax-acquired property because there's really no benefit to them. But Allied Realty is very interested in helping out the town.
All right,
So
so
I
what are
think
we
that-
looking for tonight?
What I think we need to do, we need to have a public hearing on the ordinance change. But we're not going to put it into effect until we have a vote at the town meeting in June.
Okay.
So when would you like to have a hearing? Do you want to do this closer to March or April or May?
Yeah, why don't we go with March 10th?
March 10th?
I'm reading off your list here. That's a select board meeting, and it's just before the budget time. And we have a couple of other things that we have not had public hearings for, correct? We
Right,
have.
yeah, there are some other
Why don't
ones.
we put all of those on March 10th?
All of them on March 10th?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's only like there's two, right?
There is the sign ordinance. There is a couple for the animal control. Yeah, we can do it all.
I don't think any of those will take up
Okay.
too much time.
Okay. All right, so let me put that on my,
So we'll get all of those in a list for the articles in town meeting. We'll have that done.
ordinance, public hearings. Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you. All right, anything else on that for now?
Not on this one. So essentially, we're not gonna do anything to sell any tax-acquired property that we're currently holding until after June 2025 town
Right.
meeting.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, number 2, Community Alliance
Resilience.
Resilience, sorry. Partnership through the Governor's Office of Policy Innovation and the Future, KBCOG.
So I brought this up at the last meeting and I forgot to give you the handout. So you have the handout now. Essentially, they're looking for a letter from us that just basically says we're willing to commit to this, not necessarily to any specific project, but it gives us an in with KBCOG to get grant money. And then we can pick and choose which grants we want to apply for.
Okay. All right, so if we look at the letter that the town manager has given us, the draft, anybody have any objection to anything there? It doesn't commit us to anything, only it says we would support it. All right. So if we could have a motion to send the letter?
I'll make a motion to send the letter to the Kennebec Valley Council of Governments
Okay.
for the resilience.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second to send the letter to the KBCOG, joining the Community Resilience Partnership to the Governor's Office of Policy Innovation and the Future. It doesn't tie us to anything. So
Right.
Nothing. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, TIF rules for allowable expenditures.
So on the research that I was able to do, what I found is the town of Madison is authorized to capture the blah, blah, blah. The authorized costs described in the development program, including credit enhancement agreement, eligible town costs include operating costs for the town's economic development office, which I understand is me, marketing for business attraction, skills development and job training, promotion of the downtown as a commercial destination. So when we were talking about helping the rec department with the ice rink, with the liner and the boards and everything else. I believe that that would fall under here because it would help create Madison as a skating destination. So I think, you know, if we agree that we can afford that $3,000 to help the Madison Rec Department, then they can use that commitment when they're applying to the, they're applying for the Somerset Community Betterment Grant through Somerset County. So they could use that as seed money to that grant, for the matching grant.
Well, our money is all spoken for at this point.
There was a balance. There was a balance. We had about 498,000 estimated, and we allocated 495,000. So there's still about 3,000 that's allowable, or available, sorry.
All right, so we need a motion to allow that to happen.
Yes.
Anybody want to make that motion?
Make a motion, we take 3,000 TIF money to give to the Madison Rec Department, as grant seed money for the ice rink.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second to use TIF money to give to the rec department to pay for a seed money for the ice skating rink of $3,000. Questions? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, select board meeting schedule, and you have one. The only thing on this one, on December 9th, we're gonna be here at Old Point. All right, on the 23rd, do we need a second meeting that month?
Christmas Eve Eve.
Yes. Anybody opposed to not meeting?
Probably don't hold your breath till you see somebody.
Are we okay with not meeting? Oh, yeah. Okay, so we'll take that one out.
Yep.
Good, the
Are we
building
still gonna have a
committee.
warrant that day
Yes,
for
we'll have a
signing?
warrant, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, just let us know.
The building committee can meet that night.
I think you should be chair, Sean.
Anything else on here look, like we don't, I mean, we're anticipating, just so everybody, no vote's been taken on the annual town meeting, but that's, we're
Right.
anticipating that, so we'll do that as we get a little closer to that.
I'm sorry, I should have had a question mark
Yeah,
after
no,
that
that's
one.
fine, that's fine. And we will, well, we need to let James or Catherine know about the meeting in East Madison, so they don't show up.
Yes, I will do that.
All right, any
And
questions?
The February 24th and the May 12th meetings for East Madison, is that all right?
That's fine, yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to put it in like once every quarter.
Yep.
There's one on the back too.
Oh, yeah, in August, yep.
Um,
Al doesn't
Citizens' concerns, any citizens' concerns? Select board concerns, Mr. Moody?
No, sir.
Mr. Bean?
I don't have any concerns, I just wanna make sure everybody knows about December 7th, and we did have a cemetery meeting the other night, got another one scheduled for December, that went well.
This is what?
I'm all good, thank you.
Awesome.
All right, I am good. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second? Second, motion and a second to adjourn, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries.
You don't want any discussion about it?
You don't know, you can't.
Heidi, thank you for putting